Brought to you by the Westport Winery. Be sure to check them out. They're halfway between Aberdeen and Westport on State Route 105. Open daily from 11 to 6 for you to taste the finest in American artisan wine, cheese, and chocolate. Visit them today. Great spot, and I know our guest today is going to be a guy who's very curious about the sights and sounds of Gores Harbor. Michael Entz, who is the CEO of Cosmo Specialty Fibers. You've known him for years as the Cosmopolis Pulp Mill, now Cosmo Specialty Fibers, a member of the Gores Group, I suppose, is the best way to describe it. Michael, welcome to Gores Harbor, and your arrival has been, I think you've probably gathered by now, pretty heavily anticipated and very, very welcome.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's really exciting to be here. I've been in the area for a couple of weeks, and the reception's been overwhelmingly positive, and we're just excited as we can be about this new venture and getting this mill running again, and just tickled to be with you this morning.
Have people actually charged up and hugged you yet, is what I want to know, because I mean, this is, I gather you, the meetings you've had have probably been made just how clear to you how excited people are to see that facility, which was a staple of the harbor businesses for so long, sat empty for 3 years, to see it coming back online. I don't think, Darwin, it's a stretch to say that there were some tears shed when that news came down that the Gores Group was going to purchase the mill.
Oh, absolutely. All you had to do was talk to Vicki James, and she was ecstatic. I'm sure you had many opportunities to talk with her. It's just a great thing.
The reception's, again, overwhelming. We've talked to so many folks that are just so joyful. I don't even know how to express it. We've met with a lot of community leaders so far. We met with elected officials yesterday and certainly expressed our appreciation for all they did to get us to this point. But again, as positive as you can imagine.
Introduce yourself. Where are you coming from, and what's the background that you bring to the mill?
You can tell by my accent that
you're not from here.
I came from Lower Alabama. And went to school at Auburn, so I'm a big SEC fan.
I was about to say, so you had to love the Florida loss to Alabama, but no, you must have hated that.
Anytime Florida or Alabama loses, it's for me. And Auburn's having a nice year so far.
They are.
And after school, I joined the pulp and paper business, and I've been doing this for close to 30 years. And a good bit of that time was with Smurfit Stone, and a lot of locations in the southeast. Moved several times, and had the opportunity to be a mill manager at 3 different locations. And in the last 5 years, I've been with NewPage, which is more on the coated paper side. And the last location was in Escanaba, Michigan. And if you don't know where that is, you go to Green Bay and go 2 hours north, and you almost hit Lake Superior. So I escaped before the winter, but wonderful companies. And you know, I told a lot of folks this week, I left a really good job to come here because I think this is something special. To come in here and get an opportunity to start a facility back up, add jobs. How many times do you get a chance to add jobs in the economy that we're in? And to be part of creating a facility with a new face, bringing folks in and being successful. So that's why I'm here.
Well, you're coming into a community that, as we said, is really excited about this. As far as escaping the winter, I don't know if you've seen the weather forecast, so they're expecting lots of snow this winter. So it may be a nice little transition for you there.
Well, 4 foot of snow in the yard for 5 months, we got to do better than that.
Yeah, we'll do a few dustings mostly. We may have a couple of feet this year, who knows? But yeah, things are expected to be a little chillier. But what was it about this that made it so appealing to you? Was it the fact that you had a chance to start up a facility almost from scratch and add this back into the community?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. The last 10 or 15 years in the pulp and paper business, you continue to read about reductions in force and closures and pullbacks. And you don't get any chances to add jobs, take a facility that's down, put your spin on it, bring a team in and create a culture to be successful. And so it's just a really unique opportunity. And also, when I did my homework and checked into the facility, the background, the workforce, there's nothing but success ahead. And it was just an absolute no-brainer for me to say, I want to be part of this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You
mentioned that you've got a pretty extensive background in this industry. When we spoke with Jordan Katz, who was the managing director with the Gores Group, he mentioned the rich history and the superior reputation that the Cosmopolis facility had. Did that play a role in it as well, that you were aware of its existence?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you think of high purity cellulose market in previous years, and you think of quality, the Cosmopolis name was associated with that. And I think it's going to be a real shot in the arm for us when we go out and start marketing our product. It already is. Folks are hearing about it starting up in the industry. The reputation that this facility has is going to certainly help us on the sales side as we get out and about.
Where is the market now? Where is the growth in this market at this point?
Well, we're pretty excited about it. I mean, that's part of this opportunity. We think the supply-demand curve supports what we're doing, and we think there's a real need. And we think there's two things that will drive our success. It's going to be quality and reliability. Folks are always looking for folks in our market that can do that. This facility did it in the past, and we think it's going to be a trademark that will set. And supply and demand curves look really good for us, so we're excited about that.
You've had a chance to see the facility now. You've been in the harbor for how long now?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So you've had a chance to see the facility. How's it looking? I mean, 3 years of shutdown, well, nearly 3 years of shutdown. What sort of condition is it in at this point?
Well, I got to tell you, it's surprisingly good, and I give a lot of credit to Weyerhauser. They did a lot of really good things to keep that facility while idle viable and make it easily adaptable for folks like us when we come in. So a lot of credit to them and how they maintain the mill. It is a nice asset. Now, I won't kid you, 4 years of sitting idle, there's a lot of things to do. And I can talk about what process we're following now. But it's a really nice asset, and we don't think we're going to find real bad surprises there.
Well, what does have to be done? And what are some of the main things that need to be done to get it back up and running?
Our focus in the last 2 weeks has been, or the first 2 weeks, has been two things primarily. We're short-term staffing. We've got some previous senior management that's come back. That expertise and experience obviously is vitally important. And then we are walking the asset down from a capital review. We're walking each piece of equipment down over a 4-week period. We'll develop line item capital spending streams. And so, to proceed your next question, that'll help us determine when the facility opens back up.
You're good.
We're obviously a few months down the road. I have a board of directors, you mentioned George Katz, is anxiously asking me the same questions. And we promised a deliverable on October 29th. We'll be able to quote how much money we'll spend and when the place will start back up. So, and we'll share that with the community, obviously, at that point in time. So it takes about 4 weeks to go through this place and determine what is it we have to do exactly. We're going in vessels, we're looking at stuff, we're turning things, and we're going to do it the right way.
Have there been some major advances in the equipment over the last 3 years that might have to be caught up with this facility?
Well, again, from an advantage standpoint, well-maintained, well-capitalized. From a Weyerhauser standpoint, so the drive system, your distributed control systems are all very good. We'll be looking at improvements for down the road, but there's no immediate need that technology is driving for us to start up. Absolutely not.
October 29th.
That's our deliverable date to my shareholders in terms of when we're going to have a startup date.
So if I were to ask you right now when the startup date would be, you'd say, wait until October the 29th.
October 29th, yeah, absolutely. In all fairness to the team right now. But
that's going to be like December 25th.
Yeah. But, you know, we know we're a few months out, and our philosophy is pretty simple. While we want to do it quickly, we'd rather do it correctly.
Of course.
We're committed to spending the funding that's required to do this well. And the last thing we want to do is to move too fast and have a poor startup and up and down and up and down. So our intent is to do it exactly right and be careful with that. So we'll coordinate all that for our start date.
This facility, and my numbers are a little off there. I want to say between, 200, 250 is what it used to employ. Is there any ballpark number you can put out there for how many people might be brought back?
Yeah, I've only been asked that question.
That's probably, I was going to say.
But yeah, directionally, we can say there's going to be a couple hundred direct paying jobs affected. And indirectly, the number's going to be pretty big, obviously, from the supplier, vendor, trickle effect in the community. While the number's not finalized, obviously, we don't have all our long-term planning completed. It's fair to say we've got a couple hundred direct paying jobs that will be impacted here.
Now,
that's big.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, that's the combination of that, the explosion that's gone on over at the Port of Grays Harbor with the business there, the pontoon project that the Department of Transportation is bringing in. I mean, you're talking about a major boom for the harbor's economy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the payroll impact will be huge, and you know, the services and suppliers and the community support we know is here, and so that's certainly a benefit to us.
Do we know what sort of, is there going to be union affiliation with this? Is it going to be non-union? Do you have any idea at this point where that's going to stand?
We really haven't focused on that. I tell you what our focus has been on is trying to drive the culture that we would like. We want to make this a really engaged, empowered workforce. We want to make sure we have pretty high standards for folks that come in, and it's going to be very team-based. And so we're going to try to do something a little different than our competitors. And so again, we want a very engaging workforce. And really, that's our focus. And we get the right kind of folks with the right kind of culture, driven first by our safety and health systems. And I've been so many places, Ian, that if you don't drive it from that standpoint, you don't have a place that you really want to work. So we started from hour one of the first day. Our safety and health systems are our core value, and everything will permeate off of that. So anyway, we create the kind of culture that you want, and the workforce that you get will be absolutely spot on. And that's all we're worried about at this point in time.
October 25th, again, October 29th, excuse me, is the date when they're hoping to make the announcement. Go back 3 years to the state of the industry at that point. I mean, what has changed so much between then, when Weyerhauser said we're going to get out of this business, now when the Gores Group is willing to take a chance in bringing this business back? What's changed so much in that period?
I think a couple things. One, there's been a lot of shutters and closures and shuts and pullbacks, and so total supply available has certainly decreased. And the demand for the products that we're going to be producing, which are particularly, specifically viscose and acetate, same product lines as before, because they were good. Has trickled up. There's been a slight growth in those markets, and combined with a little uptick we see in the economy, we think all that's going to roll into being a real nice opportunity for us.
Where would you anticipate most of the product that you put out would be going to? We're talking about overseas markets?
We're worldwide. You know, there's domestic customers as well, so our sales arm will be pursuing all those avenues, and we'll try to do what makes the most sense. A good bit of this product does go overseas, as a lot of you know, but we're going to be pursuing all customers at this point in time, and we develop our sales plan and strategy. But I think it's just a worldwide market right now.
Mike Entz with Cosmo Specialty Fibers, the CEO of the group that will be charged with bringing the Cosmopolis Mill back online, is our guest on Live at 9 this morning. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion with Mr. Entz on what the future holds for the Cosmopolis facility, to again talk about some of those dates that people are looking forward to with great anticipation. It's Live at 9, brought to you by the Westport Winery on KXRO News Radio, 1320 AM and 107.5 FM. We will take a quick break and be right back.